Fujifilm has finally released the November firmware upgrade for the X-H2 and the X-H2s. In my case, we're talking about the X-H2s, and so it's firmware number 7.10. Now, before we talk about this firmware upgrade, let me tell you that you're seeing in the box below, I believe it's here, I'm recording the screen for you guys because I want you to see what I'm seeing. And I also recorded a lot of video and photo, and took a lot of photos before sitting here and talking to you because I wanted to get you an idea. However, this video is just a first crack at talking about what this brand new firmware upgrade is bringing to the table, because I will need more time, especially when it comes to pictures. I will definitely need more time to find out if the improvements are significant or not. When it comes to video, however, the improvement is pretty visible from the get-go. That's why I feel more comfortable talking about video right now, because those improvements are pretty visible. Now, if you have been using the X-H2s under firmware 5.03 and the following ones, you have definitely found that whenever you were moving your head, the focus would go to the random portion of the picture that didn't have any sense, or you wouldn't be able to follow on normal shooting scenario. And so that was really frustrating. And what has happened is that Fujifilm has fixed that. I can claim that. It's not perfect. Now, I just want you to understand, this firmware, I believe, is meant to keep Fujifilm users in the system. It's not meant to compete with the best systems that are currently available, because if that was the intent, they didn't make it. But it would be silly to expect from a brand that it's not known for having the best autofocusing system or among the best to leapfrog everyone and become the best in a heartbeat. So that would be silly expectation. My expectation, my personal expectation, was to see an improvement that would bring back my X-H2s as a reliable camera for both photos and videos. And that's my main concern. I just wanted my camera to be back. I just wanted to be able to fall in love with my camera again. That was the most important thing. And so for video, you're gonna see some footage in a second. I can already spoiler that the improvement is pretty significant. It's not perfect. It still misses here and there, but those moments are very distant one between the other, and they're very sporadic. Nothing that I would worry about, especially compared to how it was before. It was completely unreliable. With the new firmware, everything is back to fully usable, good autofocusing system status. And that is the most important thing that Fuji needed to do. We Fuji users needed to be reassured that we had reliable cameras in our hand. And it looks like we now do. To get more into specific of my testing, I used the 18 1.4 and the 56 1.2 WR, the new version, because while the 18 is one of the best autofocusing lenses in Fujifilm, the 52 is one of, not saying the worst, but definitely not the best. And so I just wanted to see what a good lens could give me and what a middle of the pack lens when it comes to autofocusing system could give me as well. And I wanted to put the system through its paces, and you will see that for the pictures more than it is for video. But even for video, you can tell that I put the camera in a position where it could fail, and it could fail easily. This video, however, is recorded with a third-party lens. I didn't do the testing with third-party lenses because I wanted to make sure that I remove that variable for the potential issues. And so now that I did that, I feel confident shooting this video on a third-party lens, because I know if it goes haywire, it's probably the lens. It looks like it's not. I'm recording the screen, you're seeing that right now, so you'll be the judge. However, without any further ado, let me show you what I did, what I recorded when it comes to video, and then we're gonna come back. And so as you've seen, the video improvements are pretty dramatic. Again, it's not perfect, but now we can finally use the camera as we were used to use it before. And that was one of the most important things. That was the key for the success, the key to avoid people from leaving the system. That was key to stop the bleeding. And in this case, the bleeding was people leaving Fujifilm X system. When it comes to pictures, the situation is much more complicated because the scenarios can be a lot different, and what I did is not what you normally do with a camera like that, in a camera like this, and you don't take pictures like that. And again, especially when I was using, and you will see that in a second, using the 56, I was in a situation where you never shoot like that. Honestly, you never shoot. So I basically set the camera up for failure. Now, I recorded also the hit rates. And I just wanted to clarify a couple of things on the hit rate. You will see numbers that are not super high. Part of the reason is that I decided that I was going to be very picky on what I would consider in focus, and I considered in focus only the pictures that were 100% in focus, no doubt. If I have a doubt, I consider the pictures out of focus. So don't get scared about the numbers. I mean, they're not that bad, but don't get scared anyways. I was being picky, and this type of consideration is very subjective. So you're gonna find someone that with the same results that I have would call 15% higher, and some others that, I don't know, maybe call, no, I don't think anyone would call lower percentages, because again, if it wasn't perfectly in focus, I wouldn't consider that as a picture in focus. So let me show you the various testing, and then we're gonna come back here and we'll talk about it. And so as you've seen, there were very different scenarios, and especially with the 56, I think I set up the camera for failure because those type of movements in that portrait type of scenario, you never shoot like that. Realistically, if you're shooting a portrait, the person know that you're shooting and is staying in that position pretty much steadily. You're moving a little bit back and forth as I'm doing it right now, but in the end, your movement is not completely crazy. You're not spinning around. You're not doing what I was doing. So you can take for granted that in a real use case scenario, the result you're going to get is going to be much better. As you've noticed, the walking test didn't make a huge difference between old and new firmware, and the result that I got was a slight advantage on the old firmware. However, I think those are so small of a margin that it may be dependent on the specific light that I had in that moment or specific move that I was doing. A 1%, 3% different, it basically doesn't matter. However, on the other hand, there's pretty decent improvement in other use case, and so for pictures it hasn't got any worse. It's got better in some scenarios, and so especially one scenario, which is what when it misses, especially with the 56, it was missing with the new firmware. It was missing by a very small margin. I would usually have the focus over here, or at worst over here. I would consider those out of focus. But also that tells me that the camera is striking properly, but it's the lens that realistically isn't fast enough to keep up with my movement in that shooting scenario. So I would say the camera autofocus was doing really good. I should have tried with a 52-140, which has the linear modus. I didn't have it at hand. I will try it because, again, as I mentioned, I will need to shoot a lot more pictures to be able to tell whether the firmware improved the photographic portion as well or not. Right now, it seems like it did because, again, it looks to be much more reliable. However, the percentages were dramatically better. So I still need to shoot. I will definitely shoot street photography. I will definitely shoot events. I will definitely shoot wildlife. And then I'll come back with another video in a month or so to close the loop on this firmware update and get you my final consideration on that. That's it for today. I hope you liked the video. There's one little test that I wanted to run before we call it a day. I just wanted to see, right now we're with the new firmware, of course, okay? I just wanted to see how it does when I put something in front of me. And in this case, you see the transitions are pretty smooth, although I believe those depend on the lens. The tracking on my eye seems to be working. Oh, too soon. It seemed to be working. Now it's working back. And so, yeah, it seems to be that the focus is much stickier than it used to be before. Now, of course, I don't have the same test with the previous firmware, but trust me, I've been using this camera for such a long time that I know how it was doing before. Again, that's it for today. Thank you. Ciao, and I'll see you in the next one.